Hare Krishna. We continue reading. We are reading from Beyond Birth and Death. And we continue reading with chapter 1. The atomic soul, although so small, is moving the entire body to act in so many wonderful ways. Now the Vedas, they tell us what is the size of the soul. The scriptures tell us the size of the soul. The size of the soul is 1/10,000, the tip of the hair. Take the tip of the hair, cut it in 10,000 parts. Tip of the hair already is so small. Then you have to cut it in 10,000 parts. And that's the size of one soul. So we are atomic. Although we are so small, because we are inside this body, such a big body can move because of it. In the world, we see so many cities, highways, bridges, great buildings, monuments, and great civilizations. But who has done all this? It is all done by the minute spirit spark within the body. If such wonderful things can be performed by the minute spirit spark, we cannot begin to imagine what can be accomplished by the supreme spirit whole. So Prabhupada is pointing out, we see so much of these great things around us. We see the whole modern civilization, great skyscrapers, more and more techniques. There's so much more design. There's monuments are built, highways, bridges. So much intelligence is being used, so much effort and expertise. So why? It's because the soul is there. The soul is able to do it. The dead body won't be able to do anything. So the soul is so tiny and yet it can do such great things. Then imagine the greatness of the Supreme Spirit whole, the Supreme Spirit. We are the atomic spirit. What the Supreme Spirit can do. If we can do such wonderful things and we are so tiny, so imagine the Supreme Spirit. He's unlimited. And so what he can do and what he cannot do. He cannot not do anything. He's unlimited. The natural hankering of the minute spirit spark is for the qualities of the whole, knowledge, bliss, and eternality. But these hankerings are being frustrated due to the material body. The information on how to attain the soul's desire is given in the Bhagavad Gita. So we are Satchidananda. We are Satchidananda. That's our nature. And we want to be again situated in that nature, but we are not able to understand. We are thinking we are the body, we are thinking we are the body. We're trying to be happy, but we think we're going to get happy only by being in this, by enjoying this body. We want to be eternal, so we try to stay in this body as long as we can. And knowledge also, with this body, we are trying to get as much knowledge as we can. But Bhagavad Gita is pointing out, is telling us that how we can actually be situated in our original position. At present, we are trying to attain eternity, bliss, and knowledge by means of an imperfect instrument. Actually, our progress toward these goals is being blocked by the material body. Therefore, we have to come to the realization of our existence beyond the body. So we want Satchidananda. We want to be eternal. We want to have knowledge and we want to be blissful. And then how can we do that right now? We want these things, but it's being blocked because of this body that we are in.
So the
Theoretical knowledge.
imperfect instrument is the material body that is
Yes,
blockage, right? Okay.
yes, yes, that's right. We are trying to get knowledge by this body. We are trying to get bliss with this body. We are trying to be eternal with this body. So that's why we have to understand that, oh, I'm not this body. I'm the soul. Theoretical knowledge that we are not these bodies will not do. We have to keep ourselves always separate as masters of the body, not as servants. If we know how to drive a car well, It will give us good service. But if we do not know how, we will be in danger. So Prabhupada is saying, so now that we are in the body, how shall we act? How shall we act so that this theoretical knowledge that we are having, that I'm not the body, I'm the soul, can become practical knowledge? We can be able to realize that the body is composed of senses, and the senses are always hungry after the objects.
Hare Krishna.
The eyes see a...
Just one question.
Yes, sorry.
So
Yes,
that means that you said that Bhagavad Gita. So because that is the way of life, like how you should live your life, right?
that's right.
So that's going to tell us that how we should be out of this illusion and how we should live with this body.
That's right.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So the eyes see a beautiful person and tell us, oh, there is a beautiful girl, a beautiful boy. Let's go see. The ears are telling us, oh, there is very nice music. Let us go hear it. The tongue is saying, oh, there is a very nice restaurant with palatable dishes. Let us go. In this way, the senses are dragging us from one place to another. And because of this, we are perplexed. So our senses drag us everywhere because this is how we have, this is the enjoyment that we know of. This is the only enjoyment that we are able to understand because we are in the body. Indriyanam hi charatam yamano anuvidyate tad asya harati prajnam vayur navam ivambhasi. As a boat on the water is swept by a strong wind, even one of the senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 67. So Krishna is saying that, when there's a strong wind, the boat, it goes away, right? The boat goes. So this is how the mind is. The mind, it can be carried away because it can give us that picture. Oh, do it. You're going to enjoy so much when this thing happens. And then we are like, oh, yes, yes, I'm going to do it. It is imperative that we learn how to control the senses. The name Goswami is given to someone who has learned how to master the senses. So because the senses are going everywhere, the mind is also going everywhere. So the first thing, okay, then we are understanding how to learn to control senses. One who has controlled the senses is called Goswami. Go means senses and Swami means controller. So Swami is controller, Go is senses. One who has learned to control his senses is called Goswami. Krishna indicates that one who identifies with the illusory material body cannot establish himself in his proper identity as spirit soul. So one who is just thinking, I'm the body, I have to enjoy with this body, I have to get knowledge with this body, I have to be eternal in this body. Entire consciousness is completely with the body, cannot understand that, oh, I'm a spirit soul, I'm separate from this body. Bodily pleasure is flickering and intoxicating, and we cannot actually enjoy it because of its momentary nature. So even though we try to enjoy, but that enjoyment does not last very long. We do, it's very enjoyable, very intoxicating. We want to keep doing it again and again. But we realize that that pleasure goes away. It goes away. Actual pleasure is of the soul, not the body. We have to mold our lives in such a way that we will not be diverted by bodily pleasure. If somehow we are diverted, it is not possible for us to establish a consciousness in its true identity beyond the body. So somehow or the other, we have to, Prabhupada is saying, if we actually want to actually understand, I'm not this body, I'm the soul, then we have to work in that way. Any goal we make, then we make a plan of how to achieve the goal. So if really we want to understand, oh, I'm not the body, I'm the soul, then we have to act accordingly. Bhogeshwarya prashaktanam taya prarata chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhi samadhavana vidiyate traygunya vishaya veda nistraygunyo bhavarjuna nirdvandvo nitya sattvastho niryoga shema atmavan. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. The Vedas deal with the subject of the three modes of material nature. Rise above these modes, O Arjuna. Be transcendental to all of them. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. Gita 2:44 to 45. So Krishna is telling to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita that one who is too attached, he won't be able to be determined to engage in devotional service because the attachment is too much. And then Krishna is saying that the Vedas are telling us about the three modes. So rise above the modes. The modes is there, and because in the modes we have this dualities. The dualities are there in the material world. There's happiness, there's sadness, and then loss and defeat. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, you rise above this. I mean, gain, victory and defeat, loss and gain, like that. And Krishna is saying, be transcendental to them. Be established in the self, because the soul has nothing to do with these things. All these things are with the body. The word Veda means book of knowledge. There are many books of knowledge, which vary according to the country, population, environment, etc. In India, the books of knowledge are referred to as the Vedas. In the West, they are called the Old Testament and the New Testament. So book of knowledge, depending on the where it is, where Prabhupada is saying it's different in different places. In India, we have the Vedas. In the West, we have the Old Testament and the New Testament. The Mohammedans accept the Quran. So what is the purpose of all these books of knowledge? Why do we have them? What are they trying to tell us? What are they trying to teach us? They are to train us to understand our position as pure soul. This is what Bhagavad Gita is trying to tell us. That understand that you are not the body, you are the soul. Krishna is explaining this to Arjuna, and through Arjuna, he's telling us the same thing, that be situated as the soul, not as the body. So even the Old Testament, New Testament, the Quran, everything is for the same purpose, to understand our position that we are not the body, we are the soul. We are pure soul. Their purpose is to restrict bodily activities by certain rules and regulations. And these rules and regulations are known as codes of morality. Now, why do the Shastras, the scriptures, they tell us certain things, don't do certain things? Why? Because they know we have the tendency to do them. And by doing them, we will completely forget that we are the soul. We will get too engrossed in the body. Then we will not be able to understand the other soul. That's the reason they put these rules and regulation, codes of morality. Just to help us to come to the understanding, I'm not the body, I'm the soul. The Bible, for instance, has 10 commandments intended to regulate our lives. The body must be controlled in order for us to reach the highest perfection. And without regulative principles, it is not possible to perfect our lives. Because then that means the rules and regulations are given to us so we can control our senses. When the senses are controlled, the mind will be controlled. We will be able to understand the spiritual knowledge. We will be more receptive to the spiritual knowledge. So the regulative principles may differ from country to country or from scripture to scripture, but that does not matter. For they are made according to the time and circumstances and the mentality of the people. But the principle of regulated control is the same. So you see, in spiritual life, the details are not important. It's the principle. Why is something being done? What is it for? What is the purpose? So it may be the Quran, it may be the Old or New Testament, it may be the Bhagavad Gita. It doesn't matter. They're different only because of time, place, and circumstance. But the principle of all of them is the same. And what is that? To regulate our senses. To regulate our senses. Similarly, the government sets down certain regulations to be obeyed by citizens. There's no possibility of making advancement in government or civilization without some regulations. So we do have, no? The Indian law will have its own, Indian government will have their own law, American will have their own law, Taiwan will have its own law. But what is the point? To keep the citizens under regulation. That's what it is. The details are not important. According to time, place, circumstance, things will be different. But what's the principle? To have regulated life. So everyone can be peaceful and happy. In the previous verse, Shri Krishna tells Arjuna that the regulative principles of the Vedas are meant to control the three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Traigunya Vishaya Veda. However, Krishna is advising Arjuna to establish himself in his pure constitutional position as spirit soul beyond the dualities of material nature. So the Vedas, a big part of the Vedas deals with this three modes of nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Traigunya Vishaya Veda. So, but Krishna is telling Arjuna that you come to the transcendental platform, rise above the modes. Rising above the modes means coming immediately to the position of the soul. He's saying, don't get so involved with this goodness, passion, and ignorance. Come immediately to the transcendental position, pure constitutional position as spirit soul, beyond the dualities of material nature. The material nature is goodness, passion, and ignorance. Krishna is telling Arjuna, you rise above it. You understand that you are the soul and you come on the position of the soul. Is it okay till now?
Yes, yeah, very clearly explained.
Yeah, that's what, Prabhupada is so expert, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's so expert how from Bhagavad Gita he's chosen certain verses to make us understand. So as we have already pointed out, these dualities such as heat and cold, pleasure and pain arise due to the contact of the senses with the objects. So we are in dualities: heat, cold, pleasure, pain. Why? Because contact of sense with the object. When the senses meet with the object, either we get pleasure or we get pain. When the senses are meeting with the object, we are feeling heat or cold, like to the skin. Skin is coming in contact with cold water. Now in winter, it's like, oh, so painful. Hot water, oh, so nice. So same. So sense with the object. Everything is happening with that. In other words, they are born of identification with the body. So all this dualities that we are experiencing is because we are inside the body and we are thinking we are the body. Krishna indicates that those who are devoted to enjoyment and power are carried away by the words of the Vedas, which promise heavenly enjoyment by sacrifice and regulated activity. So this is the Karmakand portion. This is the Karmakand portion. What is that? That because the Vedas promise you act piously, you do austerity, penance, charity, you do these great things. Why? Because you are going to become great. You're going to get more pious activity. With that pious activity, you will enjoy more. You'll get more power. You'll go to the heavenly planets. Krishna is telling us that, you know. So, and he's telling Arjuna, don't get caught up in this flowery language of the Vedas, because the Vedic language is very flowery. Yes, do this charity, this penance, this sacrifice, and you can enjoy in this way. You'll get so much power. You can have so much more opulence than now. Enjoyment is a birthright, for it is the characteristic of the spirit soul, but the spirit soul tries to enjoy materially, and this is the mistake. So we all want to enjoy. We all have this innate need to enjoy. Why? Because it's the nature of the soul, ananda. We are always happy, blissful. So we are seeking that enjoyment. Now what we are doing is, because we are thinking we are the body, we are seeking this enjoyment with the body.
So that means this karma kand also is material enjoyment. But that's what you
Yes.
want, right?
Yes, yes, yes. The Vedas, they are speaking about this karma kand, which is enjoyment in the material world. Yes. And many people, because we want enjoyment, then we want to follow these things, because after all, the desire is to enjoy. But what is the mistake is that is still material enjoyment. It's still temporary. There will still be dualities. But we have to understand that because we are the soul, we are actually, we need eternal enjoyment, enjoyment which will never stop. That's what we need. Now, we may say that enjoyment is bad, but enjoyment is the nature of the soul. Enjoy the soul is Sat Chit Ananda. It's only when is it bad is because we are thinking we are the body. But if we can understand we are the soul, then there is unlimited enjoyment, unlimited happiness. So let's read on. Because someone will say, oh, it's bad to enjoy. But that innate desire is there. It is there in us. So rather, why not enjoy spiritually?
But how about the philanthropists, and they are doing so much? Then
So it's good. It's good. Like Krishna
good,
says in
right?
Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 12, no? It's gradual elevation of consciousness. First, highest, Krishna is saying that you become my pure devotee. Okay, if you cannot do this, then you follow the principles of Bhakti Yoga. If you cannot do it, you do Karma Yoga. Give up the desire to achieve your results. If you cannot do it, you work for others. So, something or the other. So, it's good. It's good, And then gradually, our consciousness can elevate that way. So, yeah, because some of us may have the need for a gradual elevation of consciousness. Some of us, some are able to directly come to that level. But so it's good. At least there is, doing something better. At least there is elevation of consciousness. Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah.
It's still material, but at least there is that thing is there,
And
Yeah,
like
at
they're
least the
helping,
consciousness.
and they're helping so much, like,
Yes,
how many people in
yes,
need, like,
yeah,
are suffering. I mean,
yeah,
the body, so they are helping
yeah,
them. No?
yeah. And so that attachment to the result is not so much then, no? So in that way, right? Because gradually, Krishna is saying, you give up this attachment, give up this attachment. So it's one step forward, like that. Yeah. So it's good. then
I
really
guess, yeah,
hard.
what you're doing, like, okay, you be a film, but along with that, always remember God.
That's
Never
right.
forget. Yeah,
That's the
right.
basic way. Yeah, that's the foundation. That, okay, why am I doing philanthropy? For what am I doing it? You know, what is the reason? The intention. What is my intention?
Mm.
Yeah. So because this journey, it's like a personal journey, our own consciousness that we need to elevate. We can't speak for others because we do not know what is their intention. But we can try to look within us and gradually raise our own consciousness. Yeah. Shall we stop here for today? Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Thank you.
listening and joining in. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.